Hello and welcome to F1 Now. In this video we're going to be giving you the race reaction and thoughts on the USA Grand Prix in Austin. It was quite the mega race weekend, well maybe excluding the sprint on Saturday. Now as stated earlier, there was a sprint race this weekend which turned out to be very boring honestly, apart from the start that had Verstappen covering off Leclerc aggressively but fair, which in turn gave the informed Hamilton a gap to steal second from Leclerc. Now in the race, we saw another crazy start, which saw Lando pickpocket Leclerc out of first place and lead the race. Verstappen also had major gains on the start, finding himself side by side with Hamilton into turn 1 and out of it, but that move was never on for him. Now further back at the start, cars were bumping, such as Ocon's Alpine with Piastri's McLaren. Now that bumping would later be the cause of Ocon's DNF. So from then on in the lead, Lando found himself in a comfortable position, pulling a marginal gap to Leclerc in order to keep him safe from the undercut. And further back, Hamilton, who had lost a position during the start, started to turn things up and made his way passing the two Ferraris that were ahead. And then after, Verstappen started doing the same because he was losing a lot of time to Lando up front. Now, in the first stint of the race, it first looked like maybe Verstappen was just being patient and waiting to pounce. But as the stint went on, you could see that maybe the pace was just not there, because even when he passed the Ferraris, he couldn't drop them off his DRS zone. It became clear that he had to do something to affect Hamilton and Norris up front. So he pit early, triggering the undercut, and the madness of what could be started. Norris immediately pitted a lap or so after to cover Verstappen, but the difference was made by the fact that Norris only had hards available, while Verstappen put on another set of mediums. And out in front in the lead, Hamilton did try to add a few laps, but his tires were too gone and started struggling, so they had to pull him in. Now the crucial thing about Hamilton's pit is that he lost a lot of time from the decision to move into the hards a few laps later than others, followed by a mistake on turn 11, and more importantly, the unbearably slow pit stops from the team. So with that, Hamilton had a huge amount of time he had to bring down. While he was trying to make that time, Verstappen eventually caught up to Norris, making the pass, but for a few laps was unable to pull a gap to Norris. Verstappen's pace only started to pick up on the realization from the Red Bull strategists that maybe the win wasn't as bulletproof as they thought, because Hamilton, even with a deficit, was coming in really fast. On lap 35, Lando this time was the first to trigger the second of the pit stops with regards to the guys that were ahead, and next lap Verstappen responded. On the other hand, Lewis only pitted on lap 39, making it clear to everyone that this would be a chase to the end, and who knows, a win might be in the cards. But again, crucially, Hamilton lost about a second to the guys ahead in the pits. So again, Hamilton was on a charge and got ahead of Norris, leaving only Verstappen in front of him. Now, the reason for mentioning Hamilton's mistake and time lost in the pits is because as the race got into its last few laps, it became clear that that was the major key factor that played a role to him not winning. Another thing that played a part in this was the team or strategists. I say this to say that in hindsight, if Mercedes has better understanding of their car's pace from the beginning, maybe they wouldn't have tried to play it safe, building tire offsets to Verstappen. They would have simply been as aggressive with their strategy like Red Bull's team decisions, and that would have been also been enough to give Hamilton the opportunity to go against Verstappen for the win, because it's clear now that the W14 in the hands of Hamilton was undoubtedly a fast car in the race. And yes, I know Verstappen had to manage a braking issue, so with that it became a sort of what if for Mercedes and Hamilton. Also, I find it weird that neither Hamilton or Verstappen got driver of the day, but it went to Norris. Well, I guess it is all about whose fans vote more after all. But as always, a good deed never goes unpunished. Well, because news later came out that there was an investigation by the FIA with regards to floor planks, and with that, Hamilton and Leclerc were both disqualified from the race as their plankway was not in compliance with the regulations. As shocking as this is, what really surprised me was the fact that rumor has it only 4 cars were tested. So if you test 4 cars and half of them show excessive plankway, shouldn't you then continue and run the test with the rest of the field, because that shows that there is a 50% chance that more cars may be guilty? I'll leave it there and let you guys and girls make up your own minds about this move from the FIA. But one thing has become certain with regards to Hamilton and Leclerc is that when it rains, it pours. With all said and done this weekend, there were quite a few notable big winners. First would have to be Verstappen bagging his 5th year Grand Prix win at just 26 years old, Williams bagging a first double points finish after many seasons, and finally Sargent gets his first point in the season. For me, the biggest losers will have to be Aston Martin. It seems as though every time they bring upgrades, the car just gets slower, resulting in Alonso reverting back to the older spec and some setup changes for both cars. But however, Stroll did manage to get his best results in the second half of the season. Now that is it for this weekend's USA Grand Prix Sprint Weekend race reaction. We're back again racing this weekend in Mexico. So with that, thank you for watching this video and bye for now.